Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK Journey video. In this video we're going to talk about the artifact and also your faction talent upgrading priority. For artifacts first, now the important thing is for your AFK stage pushing, probably those should be the #1 priority, and that will be Pack Bond spell. Most stages, especially earlier stages, are going to be using Pack Bond spell, and upgrading to plus 30 will give you the maximum value from this artifact. And overall, obviously, there's also a very strong PvP related artifact. However, there are also some AFK stage records using Phalanx Rush in AFK stages due to the plus 30 effect, which will knock down enemies, providing that crowd control, and also a haste buff to your team. So these are the two artifacts you're going to see in AFK stages, and also even in the Legend Trial Towers. I'm going to show you an example of that. So really, I would prioritize plus 30 Pack Bond spell first. Phalanx Rush, you don't have to rush to maybe plus 30, but eventually you would want to get it for AFK stages. Now, on top of this, you also have to be focusing on Dream Realm. And in Dream Realm, generally, Aerostorm spell is going to be the top performing artifact for multiple bosses, basically top teams. And the Aerostorm all the way up to plus 30 is going to give you the maximum value because there's an attack speed buff at that plus 30 effect. So this is going to be probably the most important Dream Realm artifact. However, on top of this, there are other Dream Realm artifacts, which are, for example, Blood Moon, Impaling Spell, and Star Bless. But the good thing about these is, as you can see here, I've left them all at plus 29 because their final effect is only really going to be useful if you're using it for like PvP content or something. Because for boss content, obviously, you're not going to be able to disarm the boss. You're not going to be able to immediately defeat the boss when they drop below a certain health. And you're not going to be needing that healing in endless difficulty of bosses. And so all of these artifacts, you get maximum value at plus 29. You don't need their plus 30 effect. You don't increase stats from plus 29 to plus 30. It's just for that final effect. So you can leave them all at plus 29. That's going to save a lot of your resources. That's important. Now, on top of this, Divine Favor is also an artifact used in Dream Realm. Sigmund will probably be using Divine Favor. Generally, that's how it has been in the past. And also, there's a really good PvP artifact. So this is also going to be an artifact you want to take, and you'll want to take it all the way to plus 30 because that is going to increase your damage. See, the first ultimate cast is going to then provide a damage dealt bonus to those targets for 10 seconds, and that is important to increasing your damage. Now, after this, really all that you have left is going to be some PvP related artifact, which is mainly going to be the Seismic Spell. Seismic Spell, I think, is one of the strongest PvP artifacts this season, and it is going to get even stronger at plus 30 effect. If you use it on a team that doesn't have your allies moving into the enemy side of the battlefield, you're going to get a prolonged 20-second activation of this, dealing damage and also lowering their movement speed substantially. So Seismic Spell is really good. I'm trying to get that at plus 30 right now for PvP. Now, the other 4 artifacts here is really just, I mean, this Sword Ward spell, very rarely I see it in record AFK stage formations, but it's always with plus 25. You're not going to need that plus 30 effect most likely. So like you should just leave it honestly at plus 25. The other ones, if you're planning to ever use them for clash fronts, that's the only kind of consideration eventually you can consider. But really, I think the strongest 3 PvP artifacts are Seismic, Divine Favor, and Pack Bond. That's basically the trifecta. Apart from that, like, I mean, Blood Moon even does work in PvP, and Ray Cage usually is pretty good. But yeah, you don't need these because these are going to be the artifacts you want to pass on, at least for right now. Now, as for faction talents, there are different ways you can go about it. It depends also which heroes do you have. If you're using Saida Baelran teams in AFK stages, you need to have Illucia Phantimal up to level 110, and actually this was my first priority. So what I did was I reset all my Phantimals, then I leveled everyone up to level 80, because you need to be within 30 levels of all Phantimals, and then I got my Illucia up to 110. I did that on day 1. Then, as I got more and more of the resources, I also took Snow Stomper up to 110, because basically, these are going to be the 2 key factions you need for AFK stages, Wilder and Hypogean Celestial, and 110 is really all you need. These heroes are going to unlock their major upgrade, their major, basically, look, this passive and active portion of Yeti Cell, which is going to allow you to convert another enemy into a snowman, and then also cause them to take bonus damage. And so you don't really need him at maxed out level 120, because that's just going to be kind of a minor increase. Even when we look at Illucia, it's really just that initial one, turning enemies into cats for 3 seconds. Then level 2 turns them into cats for 4 seconds. It's just a minor increase, honestly, not really too game changing. Obviously, to max it out, you'll eventually want it, but what I decided was I got Illucia 110, then I got Wild 110. Then from this point, I made a decision which was more PvP focused, and also because, you know, the Sarathiel boss that we have in the Blight event, we're using a light bearer team for that. So that's why I decided to invest into Tessio as well to 110. But this is not needed. Tessio is not needed for AFK stages. It's just Wilder and Illucia. And trying to get them both to 120 as soon as possible is actually the ideal option. But if you want to do a bit of PvP, then I'm running a light bearer team, a Wilder team, and Hypergene Celestial in PvP. That's why I tried to get all to 110. And again, it's just 110 that you get that major skill unlock. That is the major kind of breakpoint for a lot of these factions. But if you don't have Saida, if you don't have Baelran, and you're just going to be using a Wilder team in AFK stages, there's no need to get the Hypergene Celestial upgraded. You can leave it at 80. So when we look at the Wilder Trial Tower, definitely a lot of teams are using Phalanx Rush. If we look at the records here, Phalanx Rush, there are pack bond as well, but Phalanx Rush is really strong with a Wilder comp because it's melee damage from heroes like Pharamore, from heroes like Theodore, and even if you're using Baelran and stuff, you use Phalanx Rush in a lot of AFK stages. So let me go ahead and show you an example of that. So in the AFK stages here, we're approaching basically where everyone's stuck. Everyone's stuck at stage 2444. Maybe we can talk about that later, but if you look at the record formations, a lot will be using Phalanx Rush. Now, Pack Bond also is usable, and this is why, like, you don't have to upgrade both of them on immediately, and if you just have Pack Bond plus 30, you can make use of that. Usually, a stage will have record formations from both, but if you look at this, a lot of Phalanx Rush here, because it is very strong. It's going to crowd control the enemies for longer. And that is just, that's really valuable. And it just has good synergy with this. On this other side, it's mainly Pack Bond. Pack Bond is just really solid. And what's crazy here is if you look at all these record formations, they're all 120 Illucia. Although I think I can clear 110 Illucia as well, most likely. However, I don't know. When it comes to Illucia specifically, that is one Phantimal that may need the 120 the most, because this is a 1 second longer crowd control. Whereas all other factions, like, you know, Snow Stomper, I mean, he's just giving more damage that the enemy takes. He's not increasing his crowd control. And crowd control is really what you need for those AFK stages. So there's a bit of value from that Illucia capping out. But anyway, guys, hopefully this is helpful and gives you a good idea of basically the artifacts to be shooting for, the faction talents to be shooting for. Just a quick recap is most important are Illucia and Snow Stomper for AFK stages. Apart from that, and then you just need them 110. That's a big breakpoint, and you can leave others at 80. If you do not use Hypergene Celestial, just leave it at 80. Just get your Snow Stomper straight to 110. And then eventually you can 90 everyone and 120 Snow Stomper. Or if you also want to build up your Light Bearer team for Sarathiel, the boss, if you care about that, you can upgrade Tessio as well. Tessio and Snow Stomper can be your two Phantimals to get to 110. Leave the others at 80. And then eventually gradually get everyone up to 90 and these two up to 120. That's fine. Or you can prioritize your PvP, whatever you're using. If you're using Graveborn, Grim Executioner, maybe get him upgraded. Grim Executioner specifically does have a really interesting effect for PvP. Like, basically silencing the enemy, like banning them to the Shadow Realm for 4 seconds. If they're not unaffected, then you can get some high value off of this. Basically skill, but still it's kind of like it isn't gonna always hit, and if you're running on defense, people will just play around it most likely. And then your Lone Gaze has a damage reduction, but only 10% damage reduction and 6-second last. I mean, this is not, honestly, I'm not a big fan of this Lone Gaze skill, and I don't think it's at all gonna make Maulers meta for PvP. I don't know, Gala might be the way that we're gonna have some maybe one Mauler team in Clash Fronts or something. But yeah, that's PvP oriented. They have basically no PvE need. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts about the artifacts and also the faction talents in the comment section down below. Maybe you have some tips that I forgot to mention, and is much appreciated if you would like to share those. But thanks for watching, guys. That's gonna be it for this one. And if you are thinking about making a purchase in AFK Journey, please use my affiliate link for the official Farlight store. This is the best way you can support me and also gain 5% bonus dragon crystals on your purchase. My affiliate link is in the description of this video and a pinned comment, and you can bookmark my affiliate link, so whenever you're planning to make a purchase, just return to the bookmark link, make the purchase, and it will support me and be greatly appreciated. So thanks for watching. I'll hopefully see you in the next video, and until then, everyone, peace out for now.